Hey everybody, welcome. This is Nancy Jackson Johnson from Jersey Shore Worship, here again with one of our partner spotlights. Listen, this powerful man of God is just so dear to me. I've had the pleasure of serving at his ministry for several years. Listen, y'all got to give it up. He's one of my fathers in the gospel for Bishop Tolbert Blacknall of Bethel Community Church International in Tinton Falls, New Jersey. Give it up for Bishop. Thank you for joining us today, Bishop. Welcome.
Well, thank you so much for affording me to be on this platform. And it is my honor to be here. And again, I want to flip the script and I want everybody to thank God for Minister Nancy Jackson Johnson.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I am here to serve and just honored to have met you. Man, my son is 18 years old. And I remember coming to your church. I was pregnant with him and you guys were in a hotel. And just to witness the faithfulness of God, to see you and your wife and your ministry operate in faith. I have seen you go from transition to transition. As the word says, we need to go from glory to glory and from faith to faith. I have seen that materialize in your ministry. So I'm just commending you. And this is such an honor for me, Bishop. Thank you for your time today. So with that being said, we want to get this started. Tell me about your family, your lovely wife and your beautiful family first. Let's get to know a little bit about who the man is.
Well, yes, please. First of all, my wife and I, we met at 16. We started dating at 16 and I always tell the story. I got interested in her, true story, in preschool.
Wow.
We went to preschool together.
Wow.
So we met at 16 and we dated for a year. And she told me, you got to get your life right. After a year, a friend of mine threatened me. And so I went back to where she was at and I asked her, could I take her out again? So we dated for 2 years. We got married at 19 and July 2nd, we'll be married for 38 years.
Woo! Wow.
30.
That's crazy. You look 30 years old. I mean, you don't look a day over 30, man. That is incredible. That's awesome. With in a day and time where marriages are failing. And I heard there was a statistic out that now during this crisis that we're in, that there are more people contemplating divorce. So we got to give it up for 38 years of marriage, y'all. That's absolutely incredible. And how many children do you have?
Well, we have 3 beautiful adult daughters. My oldest daughter is getting married in September.
Whoa.
I'm sorry, 37 years. My mistake,
Okay.
37 years. So we have 3 adult daughters that work with us in ministry. And I am honored to say that because a lot of PKs, they don't work in their parents' ministry. Yeah. So I am humbled to say that our 3 daughters are still standing with us and working with us in ministry.
That's beautiful. That is so, and that again is another great testimony. And they are gorgeous. They look like little mini yous and little mini Lady Blacknall. Yes, they do.
Thank you.
Sweet. Well, Pastor, tell us a little bit about how you got started in ministry and just very quickly your pastoral journey. Like, when did you hear the call of God and how many years you've been pastoring? Can you kind of walk us through that process?
Well, I was called in grammar school to preach the gospel. I heard the voice of the Lord in my bedroom and I'll be honest with you, I didn't want to do it because I wanted to work for the government. And literally, I wanted to work for the CIA and I wanted to be on the presidential part of the CIA. That was my dream. I ate, slept, and drank it. And dating my wife from that point, no matter where I went, no matter what party I went to, no matter what club I went to, people would start telling me that you need to go to church, you look like a preacher, this, that. I received salvation um, I think a year before my wife and I got married, because she challenged me to get my life right. From that point, uh, I was mentored by my late apostle. I started out cleaning toilets. I started out scrubbing bathrooms.
Wow.
From that point, I graduated to help him put his shoes on. uh, Most people don't realize this. I started preaching to a dog that my family had
I
next
love
to
it.
the river. Uh, my parents was a great inspiration of me ministering.
Mhm,
From that point, I graduated to being his adjutant.
mhm.
And what I'm about to say is gonna sound crazy. I used to record him praying and preaching
Mm.
and take the cassette tape at home and mock him preaching and praying.
Wow.
I
Wow.
studied him
Mhm,
like a football player would go in the film room and study. So from that point, I started studying
mhm.
preachers,
Wow. Okay.
literally, and breaking the text down and mock their preaching style.
Wow.
From
Wow.
that point, he released me
Mhm.
to evangelize
Right.
because he told me that, you have to do your field work before you start pastoring.
Wow. Mhm,
So I started evangelizing. I started following him when he would go preach,
mhm,
and I was just a fly on the wall. I would hold his briefcase,
mhm.
give him water to drink, and I just watched his techniques.
Wow. Okay.
And from that point,
Mhm.
uh, I was released to start my own work.
Okay.
After evangelizing, I started in a Cape Cod with 5 people in a tiny bedroom. I'm sorry, a living room.
Okay.
And from that point, is again another crazy thing I used to do. I used to stand in front of television, this big floor model television we had, and
Mhm.
I used to always say I'm on television, preach to the 5 people,
Wow.
and it grew from there.
Wow. And how
To
many
make a long story
have
short,
you been pastoring now? How many years have you been pastoring so far?
I've been pastoring probably uh, 20 years.
Wow. 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 That's a long time, Bishop. And I
20 plus years. Let me be honest. 20 plus years I've been pastoring. I've been preaching ever since I was 19.
Okay. Wow, that's a long time, and I've witnessed your ministry down through the years. Definitely when I was serving there, you're so powerful. The way God gives you revelations. But what I love about your preaching style, one, you're definitely multicultural, and you're very dramatic. I will never forget this one Sunday you had a stretcher brought in there. I was like, what in the world? I mean, you really know how to bring a point home. I love the way that God has given you this unique gift to communicate to different generations, different demographics. Um, and you know what too? I could see you as a CIA agent also. I could see you. I could see you as a CIA agent. I definitely can see that. I definitely can see that. But going into this next question, I love your ministry. Having served there, I love the way you guys are just innovative. I want to hear from you, Pastor. What do you love about your church? What do you love about your ministry?
I really love the diversity of
Mm,
our church, the
yeah.
multi-generational, the multicultural of our church. And it's so easy for me to minister to them because an old preacher taught me this.
Mm,
He said, more is caught
mm,
than taught.
wow.
So
Good.
I love the diversity of the people.
Mhm.
I, you know what? I'm so humble. I don't want to get emotional.
Mm.
They give me the privilege to serve them.
Oh, wow.
And that is the thing that, without me breaking out crying right now, that is the thing that humbles me and keeps me level and not have my head swell up.
Mhm.
They allow me to serve them. And I really appreciate that.
Mhm.
They're open for change.
Mhm.
And yes, with the stretchers and all this other stuff, I understand that people don't learn at the same level.
Wow. That's good. That's really good. And while we're on that note, I know there's a lot of uh, there's a lot of dark sides to being a pastor. I'm a PK, so I've seen lots of things from up close. But what I want you to share, I know you said you love them, they allow you to serve them. What is it within your pastoral role that you love about being a pastor?
The perspective I take is God allows me to be a co-laborer with him.
Mm.
So I'm touching lives, not just human beings, but spirits that's going to be affected through eternity.
Mm. Wow.
And the teaching part of it,
Yeah.
they challenge me, and I love the challenge.
Mhm. Wow, that's awesome. Well, you're an amazing, amazing teacher. Amazing. I've witnessed your innovation. You guys are very creative from your multimedia. Um, oh, wow, sorry about that.
No
From
problem at all.
multimedia to your plays. You guys have a dance ministry. What are some of the highlights for you in your ministry? What are some of your personal favorites that has blessed you? I'm sure you're blessed by it all, but is there any one or two incidences or events that you have done in the past that that you would like to pinpoint?
Make a long story short, outreach.
Mm, yeah.
I love outreach,
Mhm,
and I know we may have a lot of church people watching it. Matthew's 25,
mhm,
outreach, touching those that have been marginalized, touching those who may not have a voice, uh, back to school outreach,
mm,
because those children are our future.
yeah.
Most people don't realize we're one generation from the church being extinct.
Yeah, wow. And you know what, Pastor, you guys are such givers. Every last one of your events, I just really feel like your church is a model. I know I've extracted a few ideas,
That's okay.
and I think that's what's beautiful about the body. I think that's what's beautiful about the body of Christ is that we can draw from one another, and we can pull ideas from one another and be inspired by one another. And one thing that even with us partnering and you guys being a partner of Jersey Shore Worship, you have always given. You give to the people in your community. You're always making up some care packages, or you're giving out hats or gloves or toys or hot dogs or something. You really have a strong touch with the community. What do you foresee in the future? What are some of your plans in the future for impacting your community, or just your overall plans for your ministry?
Well, my generosity started with my parents.
Mm,
My parents, before I was born, we're from North Carolina. My parents used to be sharecroppers.
mhm.
Every week, they used to load up a station wagon and bring it to church to feed people that was less fortunate than us.
Wow.
As a young man growing up, I used to watch every Sunday was like Easter
Mhm.
and Thanksgiving.
Wow.
And every week, not just people of color, we
Mhm.
had Caucasian people sitting at our table
Wow.
and watching my parents serve them and feed them.
Wow.
My parents always had a close relationship with people that didn't look like us.
Mm, wow.
So I was always comfortable with diversity,
Mhm.
outreach,
Mhm.
so forth and so on. So the future, what I see is that I see church from a different perspective,
Mm,
literally.
mhm.
God changed my perspective of church and life about 2 years ago.
Wow.
I don't see church as a building no more,
Mm, mm.
because even though the physical building may be closed, church is still open.
Man, right. Yeah. Yeah.
And we can't say we love God
Mm.
and not reach people.
Ah, that's good. Yeah. Yeah.
So, to directly answer your question,
Mhm.
uh, my continual plans is every soul that I touch
Mhm.
is one soul that will not go to hell.
Amen.
That is honoring God. We always say we're worshipers,
Mhm.
but he asked a question in Matthew 25. He didn't ask about the numbers we have. He didn't ask the size of the building. He didn't ask about your Cadillac, your cash, your house. He said, when I was in jail, did you visit me?
Yeah.
When I was hungry, did you feed me? So forth and so on. He said, when you did this to the least one, you did it for me.
Yeah, that's so good. That's so good.
So my focus is
Mhm.
people,
Mhm. Yeah. Amen.
not being the greatest orator,
Mhm.
but is being the greatest lover of humanity.
Love that. Wow. That's beautiful. That's so beautiful. And I've witnessed that with my own eyes. We're in a day and time, especially now, where it's really, we have really even more of a responsibility to be Jesus's hands and his feet. And I hear your passion, and I've gleaned so much from just your leadership, your experience, and your wisdom. During this time that we're in, I know you are a leader. Um, what would you say to a pastor that is dealing with this transition that we're in right now? He's keeping his head above water. He's learning new things, not really, may not even be very technical. What would you say to a leader that's maybe saying, you know what, I'm frustrated right now? What would you say?
First thing I would say, get into a quiet place
Mm,
so that you can hear from the Lord.
amen.
That's the first thing, because leaders, and it's going to sound sadistic, leaders are made during crisis.
Wow. Good.
And if I may give an example, now let me preface my statement. I'm not validating these people, because the people I'm going to name, I don't know whether they were Christians or not.
Okay.
We would have never heard of Alexander the Great if it wasn't for crisis.
Wow.
We wouldn't have ever heard of Winston Churchill if it wasn't for crisis.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Uh, he grew up with a rough background, but the crisis
Mhm.
pushed him to a level of leadership that the world have never seen.
Yeah.
We would have never heard of General Schwarzkopf if
Mhm.
it wasn't for crisis,
Yeah.
or Abraham Lincoln if it wasn't for crisis.
Yeah.
My point I'm saying is this is not a season to be the best homiletic,
Mhm. Mhm.
having the greatest sermon.
Yeah.
My advice to any leader is to get into a quiet place and hear what the Lord is saying to you
That's good.
in this season.
Mhm.
And once you hear from the Lord,
Mhm.
move forward on that. Because when you are a leading voice, you're going to come against your critics and all that.
Wow.
But you have to understand, like Jeremiah,
Mhm.
we take Jeremiah 29 and just run with it, and not understanding that Jeremiah was in a crisis. And
Wow.
God had to remind him that I gave you a word in your mouth for purpose.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
he said, your word is going to be as fire, but your people are. In other words, he also told him that the people are going to look at you like you're nuts.
Right. Yeah.
But once you hear from the Lord, move, because people normally, we don't like change.
Right. Yeah.
And this crisis have caused us to change
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
how we church, how we think, how we preach.
Mhm.
So think, get in a quiet place and
Good.
let the Lord minister to you,
Mhm.
so you know what to do, because this thing is moving from second to second, minute to minute, hour to hour. So
Wow.
it's time to hear from the Lord.
Wow, that's such good advice, Bishop. Such good advice. Now, I hope you're doing something with leaders in the future. I don't know. I'm just saying. I hope you doing some type of leadership conference or something. Is that in your future plans at all?
Yes, it is.
I'm
How
putting
can I say
you on
it? I have, God gave me something. You mentioned something to me a couple of years ago. I was ducking and dodging it. You said something to me, and I wanted to pull one of your numbers. I wanted to go, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. But the last couple of years, I got an invitation about it before this crisis hit, and I had to recant on it. A country, matter of fact, Rwanda, I was called to do a leadership conference over there.
Wow. Wow.
and they wanted me to train leaders.
Right.
I've trained leaders in other countries, but they asked me to go out there, and I had to cancel because of this.
Mhm.
And I started a leadership academy
Yes.
at home,
Mhm.
and I wanted to open it up. But I thought about you, and I'm like, I don't want to do this, Lord. I just don't want to do this. I don't need another iron in my fire. I mean, pastors are calling me, bishops are calling me. I just need some sleep. So, so what we're going to do, we're going to acquiesce from what I'm doing at home, and we're going to open up a door for a leadership just for leaders,
Okay, that's awesome.
train leaders for such a time as this,
Awesome.
literally.
Oh, great. Well, I'm happy to hear that. Yes, yes, yes. It's time. It's time. It's time. Okay, moving forward, and we're getting ready to come to a close. But listen, I want those of you that are watching us right now that are chiming in, listen, Bethel Community Church is located at 371 Essex Road in Tinton Falls. If you're in the Neptune area, if you know where Route 66 is, where the huge Walmart is, they're not too far from there. So it's 371 Essex Road. Their website is bccint.org. That's bccint.org. You can see the list of their programs. They have so many wonderful things that they do for the community. They have a great singles ministry, great marriage ministry. I mean, just a great overall ministry. And also, you can connect with them on Facebook. Bishop, one of your Facebook Live services on Sundays, what times are those?
10 a.m. sharp.
Okay, 10
You
a.m.
can
Mm-hmm.
catch us on, we start at 10 a.m. and we run it for a couple hours because we know people are working all hours of the day.
Oh,
So
wonderful.
10 a.m. sharp.
Okay, great. And they can catch the replay. In other words, you replay that again. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Also, do you have a midweek service online as well?
Yes. 2 o'clock. I'm sorry. Tuesday at, you see, I'm excited. Tuesday Tuesday at 7 p.m.
Okay.
And you can catch us live.
All right. Awesome. And their Facebook page name is Bethel Community Church International. Okay. So go to Bethel Community Church International. We will have all the information at the top of this post so you can look at it there. But listen, you got to connect with them. Man, I could talk to you all day. Actually, I probably need to have a private consultation with you, Bishop, because you're just a man full of knowledge and just have been such a supporter of Jersey Shore Worship. You, and shout out to Lady Felicia Blacknall, your wonderful executive pastor, your rock, your wife. Love her dearly. Just thank God for you both. Now, Pastor, in our few seconds that we do have left, I know you have a strong evangelical team, your outreach team, you talked about that. And this is a time for us to definitely instill hope. Can you take the next couple of moments and speak to someone right now that is dealing with maybe contemplating suicide because they cannot provide for their family, or someone that has just lost someone to coronavirus and now they don't know what to do? Can you just speak to those that are dealing with hopeless situations right now?
First of all, I want to let you know, and I'm going to be extremely transparent. I went through years of depression because I couldn't see beyond a crisis.
Mm,
I struggled with my parents passing away
mm,
because I felt like that I was robbed of their love because I'm the youngest out of 8.
mhm.
And I went to therapy
Wow.
because I had to learn how to see beyond my pain and realize that God did not allow me to go through this. It
Mhm.
was just life. Life happened, and
Yeah.
I didn't know how to deal with it. I want to encourage you that God has not left you.
Yes.
God has not left you. He still loves you. He still appreciates you. And I want you to open up and understand that we have people praying for you. People are loving on you, and understand that there is hope beyond this.
Yes.
I don't want you to focus on the now. You have a future. God said, I have planned a future for you. And I want you to tap into that future. I want you to embrace your uniqueness. and understand that the Bible says you're fearfully and wonderfully made. In other words, you are complex but unique.
Mm, love
And I want to let you know that.
that. Mhm.
There's something greater on the side of this pain.
Mm,
And I want you to focus on that. We're praying for you. Georgie, so worship is praying for you. Your pastors are praying for you. And trust me when I tell you, this is not going to always be this way.
yes.
And I want to let you know you're going to come out of this better.
Amen. Wow. Thank you, Bishop. That is really powerful. Thank you for sharing that, because there are so many people dealing with emotional issues. Listen, if you want to hear more of this powerful man and his ministry and experience and just a ministry of love, then I invite those of you that do not have a church home and you are in the Tinton Falls, Neptune, Asbury Park area. Listen, you talk about a down to earth. You just heard his testimony. He's transparent, he's real, he's powerful, a ministry of deliverance and freedom. I experience it firsthand. Then you need to be a part of this ministry. Connect with them right now, join their Facebook Live services. And when we are able to come back, stay in touch with them so you can come in person and worship along with them. I'm telling you, your life will never, ever be the same. Bishop, I want to say thank you again for your time, all that you've shared. And I just look forward to what God is going to do through you, your personal ministry, that leadership conference, as well as everything that your wonderful church does. Bethel Community Church International. Once again, they're located 371 Essex Road in Tinton Falls, New Jersey. God bless you, and may heaven, as they say, smile upon you. We love you, Bishop. And again, stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be back with you soon with another partner spotlight. God bless you all. Take care. Bye. Bye.
God bless you.